Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm asking the question, what is it that the tour professionals do that allows them to hole so many putts? Maybe it's been staring us in the face all the time. Could it be that we've just been missing it? Similarly to the Rory move I was talking about the other week, you're actually watching the tour professionals show you what you should be doing when putting, and it just hasn't clicked. There's one thing that they all have in common, and it's this position, not at impact, but shortly after impact. You will actually see them all there, irrespective of the way they stand to the golf ball at the address, whether they have lower body movement, whether they even have wrist movement in the swing. They're all there in a position which is virtually identical, irrespective of you looking at Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Crenshaw, Greg Norman, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Ian Poulter, Luke Donald, all these guys who down the generations have been known as the best golfers and the best putters out there. They're all in this position. And there I think maybe we've got to think of a little bit of reverse engineering and say, well, if I can get to this position, then everything before it must have been pretty good. So how do we get to this position? How do they get in this position? Well, really, it's a slight change in the way that your shoulders normally rotate, because they're more of a rocking movement that's coming from the shoulders than a rotation. And in order to get this feeling, the best way is to take your normal address position when you're putting, in your normal stance, normal alignment. I don't mind if your feet are a little open to the target. Jack Nicklaus was doing that with lots of success for years. I don't mind even if your hips are open to the target, but you should try and get your shoulders square or parallel to the target line. Once you've actually got that, the width of your stance is pretty immaterial. All you're going to do based on the width of your stance is see, where is this position relative to my feet? So if I have a wider stance, I might have the position inside the lead heel. When I have a narrower stance, it might be outside the lead foot. Doesn't really matter as long as it's in the same position every time. So how do I get it? Well, the first thing is get the feeling. You've got to feel how you're getting in the position and what's getting you there. And that is predominantly the shoulder movement. But the shoulder movement is being helped by the whole trail side of your body. And to get that feeling, I found the best way is to take a putter in your hand like this. So basically standing upright with your arms at your sides and then go into your address position. Once you've got your spine angle, you want the feeling of rocking your shoulders, and you just rock them backwards and forth until you get to the position where your trail elbow collides with your side. Now don't worry, this isn't going to happen when you're actually putting the ball, because your trail elbow isn't going to be as bent as this. But when you get there, you will actually feel what muscles are actually working here. And you should feel that the whole of your trail side is contracting and your lead side is extending. And it's really a feeling of that the trail pec and latissimus especially are really kind of pulling together. You're not, however, using oblique muscles, which would actually cause rotation. We don't want rotation in the shoulders. We want more of this kind of up and down rocking feeling. But what more than that I want is this feeling at the end of the movement where the trail elbow touches your side. What is actually working there? Is it more a stretch you're feeling? on the lead side, or is it more a crunch on the trail side? If it's a crunch, what muscles are making the crunch? Do you feel your pecs? Do you feel the latissimus? What is it that's doing it? Now again, this is very subjective, and irrespective of what you're feeling, it's right, because it's right for your body. Once you actually have this feeling, you've got to get a golf club in your hand. Now, I don't mind how you grip it. You can see golfers with all kinds of grips getting into this position. So that is really doesn't matter. On the other hand, what I do like to see is that if you look at it from down the line, the lower arm, especially the lead lower arm, is basically at the same angle as the putter shaft at address. If you can get that as like an extension of the arm, that usually means, however, depending on how steep your putter is, that you are going to have a bend in the arms. You're not going to have your arms straight. You're going to have a slight bend in the elbow, and that's going to allow you to get this lower arm as an extension of the club. And that's similar with the trail arm as well. In fact, if you could lie a ruler on top of both of your lower arms, that would be absolutely perfect. And then you can start this rocking movement again. And you should see or feel that when you get to that position, there's actually nowhere you can go from here. And that is true in as much that as long as you're in this position, the only way you're going to go further is by using other joints and other muscles. I don't mind if this is happening as long as you're passing through the position, but especially by short and middle distance putts, it shouldn't be necessary. Now I know that here in Europe especially, we're playing sometimes on slower greens than the tour professionals are doing, and therefore we're having to give it a bit of a hit. But I'd far rather give you a bit more of a kind of a hitting action and stopping here than a really slow action and swinging too far back and through the ball. Have the feeling of more or less kind of the same distance of backswing and follow through by a 5 to 8 foot putt. And then you will be shortening the backswing a little bit by the very short putts and lengthening it a little bit by the longer putts. It's also possible that by the very long putts, you're going to have to get a little bit more motion in your body, even use your wrists a little bit. But really, when we look at the tour stats, it's all about these putts. First of all, under kind of 3 foot, and then between 3 foot and 15 foot. And anything over kind of 15 foot as a hobby golfer, if you get up and down in 2 putts, that's fabulous. So what we're looking at is getting club face control, because that's what the position is giving us. What we see with all of these great putters is that after impact, the club face, at least from the camera angle, looks as if it's still square. If I look down on it, I can actually see that obviously it's pointing slightly for me to the left of target, so it's closed slightly. But the feeling most certainly in my lead wrist is of resisting any kind of lower arm rotation. The whole of the lead side in the perfect world is exactly where it was at the address. So if you look at my position here in the address position, and we just kind of paint in the angles here between my shoulder, my upper arm, my lower arm and the putter, and then take it into the position, you should be able to find those angles again. And all that's really happened is that the shoulders have rocked, therefore the lead shoulder's gone up and the trail shoulders come down. Once you've got all that going, it's about getting a feeling for that in a fluid motion. And that's obviously going to take some time. So you want to be getting repetitions going as often as you can. And most certainly if you're all in lockdown at home, then you want to get a putting mat out and just get used to kind of swinging through to this position at the end of your motion and holding it almost until the ball's in the hole. When you actually start putting the ball, then you want to basically go through the same routine as you always did. Alignment being key here, because you're wanting to deliver the club face back to the position where it was before. get a good visualization of the ball going in the hole, and then trust it and hit through into the position, and you'll be amazed how solid you start to putt the golf ball. I believe seriously that if you can kind of reverse engineer your putting swing from the position back to the ball and from the ball into the backswing and get a feeling for this position in every putt that you hit, you're going to start holing far more putts far more consistently. All of these great putters can't be wrong, and it's the only thing that we can really look at and say they all do it. As ever, I hope this has helped you. If it does, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. The little bell will give you notifications the next time I post a video. Look after yourselves, stay safe and well. Until the next time, bye-bye.